So let's go back to our activity main here, because we're going to create a nested scroll view so that we can take a look at things. But inside of these text views there, I'm going to go ahead and create a nested scroll view like that. I'm going to say match parent and wrap content like this. And I'm going to cut all of that and put inside of these two guys here. Very good. So again, this is just for us to take a look right now and see how this all work. But really, it would be a good idea to add all of this inside of our recycle view or list view, which we'll look at this at a later point. In fact, you know how to do that right now. You can just go ahead and do that if you wish to do so. All right, so we have that there. Let's give it a padding of about 5 dp or maybe 9 dp to make sure everything inside is padded out. Very good. So there we go. Now we go back to our main activity here, meaning where here is where indeed we have our snapshot, which means we are able to get our documents, right? All these documents, we just have to, that's fine. And we're going to just start showing them in our text views. While we're here, let's go ahead and add a few more so it's more exciting. Let's see, I'm going to add another day, another dollar. Dollars are always welcome. Don't mind me, it's all gibberish. Save, should be saved. And I'm going to go ahead and add something else. Let's see. Save time by as many courses as you can and learn. Okay, save again, and you can see here we should have all of these are being added. So we have 4 at this point. Okay, very good. So there we go. That's working really good. So inside of our query documents here, this is where we're able to get everything, right? Comment this out. This is where we can go ahead and create our object again, just like we did before. Journal is equal to what? Well, it's going to be equal to snapshots.toObject like this, and I'm going to pass our journal class. Remember? So now I'm mapping whatever we're getting in our snapshots, right? And mapping that to a class, to our journal class, right? So now that I have this object, of course, you know what to do. I can go ahead and say, for instance, rec title. I'm going to set the text to journal.get title, rec thought dot set text to journal.get thought. Okay, so there we go. So let's see if this works at this point here. So get thoughts, which loads all the thoughts. Let's see, let's run this. Oh, we have a problem. Let's see, what is the problem? Logcat. I see, ScrollView can only have one direct child. So in this case here, no problem. Let's go back to our here. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of one of this because you only can have one, as it says. So at this point here, inside of our main, we don't need to have, let's see, what did I delete? I have the rec title, so I have their title, so I don't need the thought, first of all, and this is gone. Okay, let's make sure we clear things out. This is getting a little bit messy. Okay, so at this point here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a string called data, and it's going to be nothing. And what I'm going to do is at this point here, I'm just going to go ahead and say data is equal to, or plus equal to, I'm going to add something like title. It's going to be journal.get title like that. I'm going to add a new line. Of course, I'm going to say plus like this. Just restructuring thing, and then I'm going to say thought is going to be equal to journal.get thought. Oh, let's get thought, not set thought. Very good. So at this point here, I don't need any of that. Just going to go to rec, and I'm going to just pass the data, which is the object, the string object here, which will have everything. Okay. Looks like this is no longer needed. Else, let's see, set this, get rid of that. We don't no longer need that as well because it doesn't exist. And I'll have to do the same thing other places as well. So I'm going to copy this, see where the other error is. Click there. All right, so I don't need that anymore as well. So at this point here, I'm just going to paste that code. Snapshots. Actually, I don't need this because I'm creating that there. So I have to data, and it's going to be put it at the bottom there. Very good. So no more this. And at this point, we should be all set. All right, so I restructure things here so to accommodate our scroll view that we added there, our nested scroll view, because it only allows one text view or one direct child. All right, very good. This should be good, I believe, right? Let's give it a quick run. All right, there we go. So title, creating from class, thought is better to create objects like this. So it's showing now 1. Now, if I go ahead and say show data, click, there we go. Say another special, and it's not showing others. Let's see. Right, I'm setting this again. That's not what we need. Let's get rid of that and try again. Maybe this time we're gonna have a better luck. All right, let's go ahead and say show, and voila. You can see title under special thought, new way of adding documents. Of course, we need to actually restructure this. This has to be outside here. And we don't add it like that. We add it outside of our for loop here. Okay, just this is gonna work. We added title. And we had the thought. Okay, let's save this time. Give it and run. All right, let's say show data, and voila. You can see we have all of our data showing. So title, another day, another dollar. Thought is dollars are always welcome, right? And then title, creating from class. Thought is better, and all this stuff. So all of this is now showing, although it looks very tacky, but nonetheless, it works. All right. In fact, maybe if I made this a little bit smaller, that would probably work. Instead, let's say about 13 SP. Rerun this real quick. Let's go ahead and show data, and voila, you can see. It's too small. Too small. Let's run this one more time. All right, so show data, and there we go. So we can see that everything is showing good. And maybe, just maybe, this is just me being a little bit OCD here. Okay, see, I'm going to go ahead and say plus. I'm going to put new line, another new line. So at the end of each one, we're going to just add a new line like that. Okay, that looks good. Go ahead and run. Okay, so nothing really works until we say show data. Okay, much better, right? So we have title and the thought, and we have a title and a thought, have a title and thought, and title and thought. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, which is exactly what we have. So if we come down here and add another one, let's see what's going to happen. Of course, it's not going to update yet, but we're going to get there. So I'm going to say Android thoughts. Android is the best. Let's go ahead and see this. Save, right? Nothing is showing. But if I go ahead and say show data, it's going to go ahead and Android Thoughts was added, Android is the best. So there's really no order how it shows here, and we can figure out later how to put it all in order. But at least you can see that as we add things, now we have 5 documents, and each document has, of course, their fields with the data in them. They are all shown here. So how do we do it so that every time we actually save something, our user interface goes and fetches and adds to our scroller here? We've done this before. Go ahead and figure out how to do that. Hint, hint, it's going to be on start. All right, so how do we do that? Well, let's go back to our on start. I'm going to go say find on start. There we go. This is on start. We have this old one, which is referencing the journal reference, which is the actual document. We don't want that. In fact, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get all of this stuff. Let's see, it's down right about here. I'm going to copy all of this, actually comment it all out like this. And I'm going to just go ahead and say collection reference that add snapshot, just like we did before. Pass here this to make sure that we can detach any listeners once the activity is no longer active. I'm going to pass here new event listener side. You notice also right away that we have our nullable Firebase Firestore exception here. And we have, instead of a document snapshot, as before, we have now query document snapshot, which is exactly what we have when we load below. Okay, so here it's going to be the same code that we had before, meaning that we're going to go ahead. In fact, let me go ahead and put semicolon there. So at this point here, I'm going to check first if E is not equal to null. If we have an exception, right, we're going to do something. But after that, I'm going to just go ahead and return like this. At this point, it always tells me that it doesn't like that. So instead, I'm going to just put a long D here plus E dot toString. Very good. And return looks like it doesn't like it. I'm going to just remove that. So I'm going to do the same thing that we did before, because we're just going to be adding things to our user interface. So let's go to where we load, and I'm going to copy all of this. So here I'm just go ahead and paste all of that code. We'll go ahead and take care of everything. So for each of these items that we have here, right? So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did before and add it to our user interface at the end. Looks like it has something here that it's complaining about. Let's go ahead and put an if statement there. All right, there we go. So if it's not null, then we're going to go ahead and do all the work. Okay. All right, so I think that's good at this point. If I go ahead and save this and give a real quick final run here, we should be able to hopefully get something. And voila, just like that, it went ahead and pulled all the saved items. In fact, if I come down here and I said newest thought, this is a newest thought, like this. The moment we say save, we can't see that, but you notice this is the newest thought, and it showed there. So, okay. So again, the order doesn't really give us much at this point. We will talk about that later. But at this point here, you should be happy because we're able to add items and automatically they all show in a list here, right? So all these items we're adding different documents at this point, as opposed to just adding to one document that we created before. All right, so you have a lot that you've learned here. So this is when I tell you to go and build something useful. So now that we have the basics of Firestore, and hopefully I've convinced you that Firestore is the way to go, I think it's time for us to actually build something useful. Right? But before we build together anything useful, I want you to go and find something that you want to build. So with the knowledge that you have right now, figure out an app, any app that you want to build, and go for it.